Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Hump Day Wednesday. Welcome to the Off Ramp. I am your host, Thomas Jason Anderson. Hey, this is a great show today because I'm wearing my Dwayne Wade Marquette jersey. Let me get my Facebook page up here on the phone so I can see some of the comments today. Uh, I got my Dwayne Wade jersey on because uh, my guy, Bam Adebayo, uh, Miami Heat basketball player. Got the second most points ever scored in the history of the NBA in a game with 83 points last night. He's only behind Wilt Chamberlain now. He's ahead of Kobe Bryant, and that has apparently caused all kinds of problems uh, out in the social media world. Okay, because Bam Adebayo, if you guys are not familiar with Bam Adebayo, Bam Adebayo, I believe, is his parents are African. He may have originally been from Africa, but I know he went to school here. I believe he went to University of Kentucky for a year and was drafted by Pat Riley into the Miami Heat basketball team. So for those of you who are not aware, there is, I'm talking about the Miami Heat basketball team, professional team, and Bam Adebayo has been sort of Pat Riley's template for you know what he considers to embody like an organization because his philosophy, and I've followed the Heat for a long time. But Pat Riley's philosophy is that each and one of his every one of his players should embody the entire organization and vice versa. The entire organization should embody each and every player. So Bam Adebayo was the epitome and is the epitome of what Pat Riley envisions to be uh, truly an elite player, an elite human being. Just a unique guy, Bam Adebayo. Someone who has just done the work over the years. The guy, you can see he's one of the hardest. He's always been one of the hardest working people at his profession. Always been a highly respected man in the NBA, outside of the NBA. And so, he reaped his reward last night. He's playing in a league that, they don't have to really compete that hard anymore due to rules changes and other things. But um, the league has changed. And now guys like Bam Adebayo, who are very skilled, who have put the work in, who do the workouts early in the morning, 4 a.m., 5 a.m. every single day, treat their body right, surround themselves with the right people. Uh, he gets to he the world gets to see all of the work he put in with those 83 points he scored yesterday, which is just incredible. And so this should be a great, happy story, but there's just so much hatred being thrown at the guy. I think Robert Horry, former Laker player, was on some show saying that he's putting an asterisk by this performance. He didn't consider it a legit performance, basically, because I think he made 43 free throws, which when Wilt Chamberlain scored the 100 points, I think Wilt Chamberlain made 28 free throws, and he was a terrible free throw shooter, and he made 28. But regardless, they're knocking him down, and some people are doing it because he's up to Kobe. But I think even Kobe Bryant, if he were here today, would be really happy that it was Bam Adebayo that surpassed him in the most in second most points in the game in NBA history, because Kobe himself was someone who believed in all of the things that Bam Adebayo embodies. And so if anyone is to eclipse Kobe Bryant, it has to be someone like this, somebody who put the work in, not a clown, not someone cutting corners, um, somebody who did it the right way. And I think that's what Kobe Bryant stood for, someone who did it the right way. And so this is only fitting in my eyes, right? But then you've got all this hate out here, and I think what the hate's coming from, I think there's just confusion these days. I think we've too many of us have bought the lie that the only way to have success is to cut corners. The only way to have success is to destroy other people, to do things that are outlandish, partner with entities that may not agree with who you are as an individual, basically sell out. Basically sell out. Like, I think people don't want to admit it, but the truth is that we live in a sellout world, that most of the elite, most of the successful that we see around us, most people who are successful and you can publicly see their success and they're being held up as an example of success in our society, they're sellouts. They may be hiding it really, really well, but we all know that most of them have sold out. And I think for too long, too many of us have almost given up and believe that, hey, there is no other way but to sell out. But then you see guys like Bam Adebayo step up to the plate, or you see guys like Kobe Bryant in his time. And yeah, these guys have talent, and yeah, they have a lot going for them. They're super tall, and whatever, whatever, whatever. But these guys, both Kobe and Bam, uh, when it comes to basketball, really approached it the way that a doctor would approach their practice, or an elite attorney would have approached their practice. These guys really did it the hard way and did it the right way. And both Kobe was recognized in his time, and now Bam Adebayo is being recognized. But so many of these sellouts out here are hating on the guy's performance, and they're trying to knock the NBA now, and it's a sellout world. And so here's a guy, Bam Adebayo, who does it the right way, and you see all these guys who have sold out some way, somehow, diminishing his accomplishment and hoping to teach all of us and everyone in society that, hey, it's not it don't do it the right way. Don't do it the way Bam Adebayo did it. Don't do it the way Kobe did it. Because if even if you have success, you'll have all of us snakes in the grass, all of us secret sellouts. We'll be there to knock down your achievements. So you're wasting your time. And so that's what we're seeing right now. And it's sad. And it's not only happening in sports, it's happening in politics. It's happening in our own communities every day. If we all look around, we can see that the people who are doing it the right way, the people who are not selling out, they're the ones who are really getting hit hard. And the people who are selling out, they're the ones who are so happy, and they're the ones who are celebrating right now. But if you look at what's happening, right, there really shouldn't be any celebration from anyone, right? Because everything's a mess. And so we all should be in the mentality of we need to get to work. We all should be in the mentality of this is not a time to try to up one person above another. This is a time to take those of us who are on the grind, those of us who are working, whatever the results are of our work, it's time for us to be driving the conversation. And for the people who have sold out and they've lost their puppet strings and don't know what to do, they need to step to the side and stop hating. Don't hate on Bam. Don't hate on those who are putting the work in and who have put the work in and who know what's going on right now. Don't hate on us. Don't hate on us. I'm sorry that you guys did not put the work in. I'm sorry. But for years, I know this. Bam Adebayo has been looking around the league, and he's been seeing a bunch of guys who are getting paid millions and millions of dollars who are not putting their entire effort into their practice, into their craft, into what their life is. They're not doing it, and he was doing it. And now look at the results. Okay, they want to try to diminish this, but we're seeing the same thing in the political world. We're seeing the same thing in the media world. We have people here who have sold out. They've gone the wrong way. They no longer know what to do because the world has gotten too complicated, and all they can do is hate. That's all they can do. And so when you look at the Cuba situation, right, it's a very similar situation to the Bam Adebayo situation because the truth be told about Cuba is that Cuba, us in Miami, South Florida, people in the Caribbean, we've all been pawns for a few generations now. We've been pawns in a war between a few superpowers that have nuclear weapons. Okay. The superpowers who had nuclear weapons in the world were mad at each other. They were fighting each other. And we all in this region became pawns in their fight. And that fight went on for a long time. And what we're seeing now is that fight is over between the superpowers. It's over. Yeah, we see fighting between the superpowers, but it's in other places in the world. The what they were doing in our part of the world here in the Caribbean, the superpowers, that's over. All their little operations, they've pulled the plug. They've moved on. And what they've moved on to is the Arctic. Think about it. Why do you think Trump keeps talking about Greenland, right? Why do you think the EU is all up in arms? China is trying to get shipping lanes into the Arctic. It's because the superpowers of the world have shifted how they are adversaries. And the shift now, as you can see, is it's out in Ukraine, it's in the Middle East, but they're no longer having that battle here in this part of the world. It's done. And that's why you see Cuba falling. And when I say Cuba's falling, it's not falling because if you think about it, for all of those, and I saw the former opposition leader, current leader of the APNU, Aubrey Norton, he for in Guyana, he said that he's not anti-American, but that he feels bad that Guyana has turned their back on the people of Cuba. But that's not what has happened. The It's the Russians and the Chinese who turned their back on Cuba. Look, if if the current Cuban regime can get from Russia and China whatever they need to make the island work, they're fine. They could be doing that right now. But Russia and China have decided that they don't want to do that. And so that's who has abandoned Cuba. Cuba as it, Cuba in its current existence as the primary adversary to the United States, in order to hold that existence in this world, they have the island itself doesn't have that kind of power to do it by themselves. If that's their main role is to be the adversary to the United States, they don't have that ability by themselves. They have to get help from others to do that. And they were getting help from Russia and China and others for generations. Okay. When the Russians and the Chinese pulled that support away, there's no longer an adversary to America now in Cuba. They may believe that they may have an ideology, but it takes support to do that. You can't just be an island and just decide, well, we're going to just destroy this giant country that's made up of really 50 countries. We're just going to destroy them with our words. We're not going to get any support from anybody around the world. We are that powerful as an island. We're just going to destroy those 350 million people. I mean, that's what people are asking them to do. The Aubrey Nortons of the world are asking the leaders of Guyana, hey, support the Cubans to go against the Americans, even though the Russians and the Chinese don't want to do it. The Russians and the Chinese don't want to support them to go against the Americans, but Guyana should. How does that even make sense? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And so there's clearly something going on here. Clearly as Cuba and that apparatus is melting away. And when I say they're melting away, no one's killing them or anything like that. They're actually negotiating a peaceful transition in their island nation. What's wrong with that? They lost the backing of the Russians and the Chinese, okay? and now they have to find a new way forward. And the new way forward is they're negotiating with America. What's wrong with that? How is that hurting anybody? It's not hurting anybody. You can't force the Russians and the Chinese to start pumping billions of dollars into Cuba today to make them be anti-American again and start the war up against. You can't make the Chinese and Russians. They don't want to do that. They don't want to do it. So this isn't about somebody won or lost. This is simply about Cuba and all of us have been pawns in an international geopolitical game between superpowers with nuclear weapons. And they've decided to stop playing the game they've been playing over here over the past few. They're done. The Chinese and the Russians are done. They don't want to play that game anymore. They're done with that game. They're bored with that game. And yet we've got people like Aubrey Norton out here begging them to restart the game. Why? Nobody wants to play the game anymore. People want Cuba to be united again. They want the family members to come back together again. They want the island nation to be free. Why are you guys against that? Why? That's what we're seeing. We're seeing a peaceful transition where Cuba has been abandoned by the Russians and the Chinese, and they are now having to open up their country to become an independent island nation where all of their citizens, whether in country or out, come back home to create what they want to have moving forward. Why are people hating on that? Nobody's being killed here. No, there aren't bombs being dropped on anyone. This isn't a war. This is clearly a transition because time is over when it comes to the Cold War stuff. When it comes to the Russia, the Chinese nuclear battle, and us being pawns, it's over. We should be happy right now, all of us in this region, that this is over. I'm sorry if you guys think that your side lost, but I got to tell you something. If you're in this region in the Caribbean, you didn't have a side because you were just a pawn. You were a pawn all along. So please, all of us, me too. I was a pawn. I'm a pawn. Everyone here has been a pawn. I'm sorry. Don't be disillusioned. Don't trick yourself into believing something else. Okay? We were all pawns down here for a long time. That's over now. I know it's hard for people to believe. It's over. And it's ending without missiles being dropped, bombs exploding. It's over. It's happening in a way where it's very, very organized. We should be happy. We should. And so that's the take on Cuba, guys, is that this is a fractured nation, island nation that has lost the backing of the Russians and the Chinese to continue to be a primary threat against the United States of America. No one wants to do that anymore. So now they have to transition out of that stance into being an independent island nation that functions as a real country and not as a puppet of superpowers with nuclear weapons abroad. That's all. Okay. And look, there are a lot of family members in Miami and South Florida, United States. They're ready. They're ready to go back home and to help build their nation. And we here as Americans, we're here to support that. We're not here to try to force war, to try to kill anybody. No, what's happening now is what we've been wanting for a long time. We have been putting the work in quietly, peacefully, in an organized way to ensure that this transition happens in a way that doesn't hurt people. And when I say we, I mean I'm in the media space. I'm a member of this community. I have been I've grown up with the Cuban exile community. I went to high school for 3 years at a high school called G. Holmes Braddock down in West Kendall, and it was like 90% Cuban population. Okay, I went to high school for 3 years there, um, and I know the Cuban people very well, and I understand their heartache and their plight on both sides, on the island and outside the island. I understand that all of us, them, me, we were all pawns in this, and we've all been trying our best to survive it and to come through it in one piece without having war. And this is one of those solutions. So please don't hate on this. There aren't people being blown up and shot and killed. This is a orderly, organized transition. Cuba is going to have brighter days. Why? Because they're going to finally be united again. And wherever they go as a nation, that's up to them. And we should all in the Caribbean here, we should all be celebrating and help and supporting them in their transition. We shouldn't be trying to tear them down and say, "Oh no, you guys got to keep acting as the major threat against the evil Americans. We need you here to fight the war." Don't do that, guys. We don't need war here. We don't need war here. Transitions are going to happen in this world in our lifetime. Governments will come in and out, changes will occur. The difference between us civilized people and these others is that us civilized people like these transitions and changes to occur in an organized, peaceful way. These other people want war. What they want is to see Cuba and Guyana and all the other nations in CARICOM in the Caribbean. They want to see all of you guys like what's going on in Haiti, where they're just private contractors are dropping drone bombs on just neighborhoods, blowing up gangsters, mobsters, and women and children. Just carte blanche destruction. They don't care about the people of Haiti, and they're destroying them right now. And they want this throughout the whole region. There is a group of people who are fighting, and the people who want this are the ones who want the Cubans to continue the fight. They want the Russians and the Chinese to fund fighting over here. That's what they want. So don't support that. What's happening now is peaceful. There aren't weapons coming in. We need, as a people in the Caribbean, all of us, like I keep saying, we need to put our differences aside and we need to make this a peace zone. Yes, change will happen. Yes, transition will happen, but it has to happen here peacefully, not by force. And when we see it happening peacefully, if we don't have anything good to say, don't say anything. Just let it happen because it's peaceful. And what's going to happen at the end of this is these people are going to finally come back together. Families that have been torn apart, don't stand in the way of that. I don't care what your political ideology was in the past or whatever you might be thinking now. Do not stand in the way of families coming back together. Don't do it. Think about your position. Forget about your politics. Think about what's happening. Families are trying to come together in Cuba. Stop preventing that. If you're a politician in the Caribbean, if you cannot say something good, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth because those people are trying to bring their families back together. You have no right to get in the way of that. I don't care what your political ideology is. Step away. And this should be the rule for everyone because if any other nation in the Caribbean goes through the same situation and there's a peaceful transition occurring where that island nation is trying to get their people back together again, everybody else should let that happen. Let those people come back together. Don't stand in the way of that. Just because you're not getting it your way when those people come back together doesn't mean you have the right to keep them separated. Let them come back together their way. It's happening. You see it. Leave it be if you don't have anything good to say. Those people have been through enough. Okay, they've been through enough. It's time for them to be back together. It's time for them to work together as one for their future. Stop getting in their way. Please. Please. So with that said, with all that is going on, I will continue to say that the nation of Guyana needs to be sending out a cash grant to the people of Guyana yesterday. Send them a cash grant. Why? Oil prices are through the roof. Oil revenue is through the roof. It's probably more than double what it was last year. If it was okay to do cash grants last year, then how does it make sense not to do any this year when you've got double the revenue coming in? What it shows is, guys, here's what it shows. It shows just how cynical the PPP are if they don't give out a cash grant. I'll tell you why. Because obviously, if they don't give a cash grant out now and they're getting double the revenue they were getting last year, then why did they give out the cash grant last year? It's because they were trying to win an election. So if they don't give a cash grant out now when they're making double the money, then it proves that they used cash grants to basically, that's election interference, where they're using state resources to influence an election by handing out cash checks to win an election. But when it's time to actually do right by their people, there is no cash grant because there's no election right now. I'll bet if it's announced there's an election coming up in September, how much you want to bet you guys would be getting a record cash grant? That's how cynical these people are in the PPP. And I'm calling them out because it's not right. Stop playing games with the oil revenue. You guys know in the PPP that you're getting a huge bump in revenue. Stop playing games. Give out the cash grant. The opposition, they don't know what they're talking about. They're lost. The PPP knows it, so they think they're going to get one over on everyone. They think because Aubrey Norton's talking about anti-American stuff and he's all talking about Cuba and stuff, a waste of time. They think because that's the focus of the opposition guys that they can slide by and not give out a cash grant right now. Stop playing games. Yes, I'm going to call you out. And I don't care if the opposition thinks I work for you guys because I'm telling you guys you need to give out a cash grant. The opposition doesn't know what they're talking about. All right? They don't. Sorry to break it to you guys. But I know what I'm talking about. And I'm telling you, the PPP needs to give out a cash grant and it has to be huge. And if they do not, it proves that they use cash grants to buy an election. I'm just letting you know. That's what it proves. So they can continue to try to play games and not give out the cash grant, or they can do what's right, give out the cash grant, and show everyone in the world that they can run their country right. Let's see. I'm watching. We all should be watching. With that said, guys, have a great day. It's hump day. I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have some more stuff in the news and hopefully we'll hear about a cash grant. With that said, really appreciate you guys supporting. Please share, pass it along. If you have any questions or comments, please comment. I'm going to get to the point where I want to have some of you guys on so we can have some debates on this stuff. But anyway, thanks again, guys. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. Love you all. Bye.
Now I'ma put it down like that. I'm leaving, I ain't coming back. You don't like the way I act anyway. You really don't have to react. Don't try to change my mind, in fact. Honey, I've already packed all my stuff. We're no longer kids, let's move on. And you are not my kid, so I'm done. Please don't make me pull my gun. Sorry boy, I can't be the one. You know it, yeah. Nothing lasts forever. There's no one to blame, you see. Maybe we're not meant to be. There are plenty more fish in the sea anyway. Every day's a different thing, so I'm not into wedding rings. It ain't personal, it's the way I think. Yeah. You know it, nothing lasts forever, and you know it, yeah. That change will make it better.